Welcome to Dear Grandchildren, a Tracker's Tale. I'm Michael Douglas, your guide on this journey into the heart of nature and the wisdom that it holds. Here, we blend the ancient skills of survival, tracking, and foraging with modern insights to help you reconnect to the wild within. In each episode, we'll explore timeless practices, share life-changing stories, and discover how the natural world can bring you mindfulness, resilience, and purpose. But this podcast is more than just a show. It's a community. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcast, where you'll find exclusive content, question and answer sessions, bonus tales. For those seeking a deeper connection, explore our workshops and experiences, or even bring me to your community for an unforgettable adventure. Now, let's step off the trail and into a possible nature experience that could change how you see the world. Let's begin. It's funny, I have these themes that start to get a life of their own and they become a series in the podcast. And so one of them that I've been pushing off and trying to not do is the grief technologies, because they are not to be taken lightly. When you pick up tools, it's important to use the tools toward the best possible outcomes. That's the main focus. This is your warning label. You just bought a weed whacker with a metal blade that looks more like a circ saw blade than a weed whacker blade. And you're barefoot and in shorts and the grass is wet. Folks, mental illness is an epidemic in our communities, in our society, and none of us, not even the most educated, pharmaceutically sponsored individuals out there, are qualified fully as a single entity to address any one person's dis-ease. The most qualified person, at least in the beginning of that journey, is that person. But then there's this point of no return. And none of us know where that threshold is for us. But if you keep chasing your demons, you will find yourself deeper into the abyss. I cannot warn you more than that. But at some point, you don't find your way fully out of the abyss. In fact, I would venture to say I've seen people, myself included, who go down into that abyss of self-doubt and distraction and fear of death and what ifs. They don't fully come back. Their confidence is less than. Their drive, their engagement in life is less than. We all shut off, sure. It's hard to be open and aware in rush hour traffic or Black Friday confused. Why would anyone do that? Why would you deliberately put yourself in a shark feeding frenzy? I mean, in a ceremony that had a little bit more safety mechanisms, maybe. But kids and people getting trampled and things ripped out of their hands in our modern world of excess. Is it because we lack the feeding frenzy mentality? Do we need more of that behavior? I don't know. Likewise, I've lost good friends who've got the tools and opened up their awareness in nature and had to find a way to integrate with the modern world in a way that they could deal with. And you could have the finest navigational equipment on your ship and still hit the reef. Likewise, you could have the best training in the world, but if you're bent on choosing to see dis-ease, you will become dis-ease. You will grow into what you focus on. Beyond your genetics, we are only two things: the environment we choose to immerse ourselves in, which will shape us, and what we choose to focus on in that environment, which will also shape us, but is more, it puts us in a direction of growth, and where we choose is where we grow. That focus determines your reality. Look through the disease to the other side and hold focus on that. Aim through the target and choose wisely. Now, we're going to examine symptoms of dis-ease. And in doing so, we're going to juxtapose it with an alternative that symptom might be stressing for us to gaze on, to correct our course, to self-correct our course out of the darkness, quote unquote, the despair, the depression, the apathy, the anger, the frustration, the desire for revenge. All of those things that come into us as primates are valid communications. How we process them will produce results that are either healthy or sustain the story of tragedy. Despair, depression, marginalization, whatever that quote unquote demon is that carries in your wardrobe. Let's stop giving it the control tower. Let's put it on a shelf somewhere, maybe in the playroom or in the basement of our mind, where we can go down and take it out if we need it. And if it does come up, well, that means the basement's flooded. We got to do something about that. It becomes a tool, nothing more than a valuable tool so that we can maintain our even keel. There you go. Let's turn that stuff that blocks our way, dissuades us, takes the wind out of our sails, poisons our waters, our relationships, and make it into a ballast stone for our ship that we navigate. And these are the navigational beacons that help us do that. The voice that I'm bringing to the table is from a collective ancestry of wisdom keepers that have loved enough to pass the tools forward, and intentionally so. And in this particular expression of it, Jake and Judy Swamp of the Wolf Clan of the Mohawk, with an intention to have good neighbors, share this incredible tool that, if misused, is dangerous. But with faith in each individual, who I know to want to feel valued, loved, and needed, who are inherently good in this world, in the hands of those folks who want to better themselves so that they can be more useful to the people they care about in the landscape that supports them, these tools will help strengthen your walk with things. I've seen it. I've lived it. But I've also seen people who had the tools not use them and spiral, and have lost good friends. But because the need is greater to have people who are fully owned and fully operational as a self-reliant, deeply connected individual, speaking from their strength, their power, whatever you want to call it. We can't let those things dissuade us. The grief that divides is the problem. It's not the reason anymore. It's the grief, the symptom has become the problem. And so we need to address these symptoms by turning those issues that generated these messages of grief into healing agents. And that's the spirit of the delivery of these symptoms. We talked about our mind being connected to the mount, which is the burial mount, which is the dwelling on things that we wish never happened but happened and you can't change. And it's said that when you have that, there's this binding that keeps the person who crossed over into that other world from living to the fullness of their being, and keeps you from doing the same here in this physical place. And it hobbles the both of you. And so if you can't care enough about yourself to release that pain, at least honor that entity that has the other end of that rope that can't grow into the fullness of their being or better themselves. So if it was a past exchange or a past event and it was really tragic, if it's holding you, you're also holding it. If you let go of that rope and allow it to be the lesson, the beautiful mentor, the training op that gives you the perspective of a wisdom keeper, not ensconced in bitterness or resentment, but in love for the sacredness of life and the frailty of that innocence that allows us to open up our antenna array. Innocence has another word attached to it when it meets hardship, and that's faith. Faith that the innocence can come back so that you have the purity of experience of being in the moment. Being in the moment is that childlike curiosity. Innocence isn't blindness. It's clean slate. When you clear the palette, the true colors of the moment can be given to you. You can fully taste, feel, experience, and perceive faster than thought, an emotional wellness within you. And in the sea of chaos that is this life, that wellness is a calm in the storm. And if you can calm yourself in the storm, well, that's shamanic level stuff, but it's also the realm of the craftsman, the master surgeon, the master storyteller, the healer, the warrior, the person who is in the moment seeing best possible outcomes and taking action faster than thought, is the medicine worker, if you will, in their discipline. You could be a car mechanic in doing this sort of thing. I would argue that it's our birthright and that we were all well enough self-actualized as our baseline to interact with the rest of the world 80% of the time or more. And in those exceptions, those times of dis-ease, it was addressed as an anomaly message that would make us stronger, either as an individual or as a shared burden, a community. And those things can be reclaimed. But we need to get to the dirty stuff first, and this is it. The opposite of being tied to the mound is taking a full present breath and finding appreciation for the gifts in your life. In fact, you're going to find that whole thankfulness thing is part of all of these answers to this dis-ease. So the 11 symptoms, 1, your mind is to the burial mound, expressed in our modern terms as you're dwelling on an unchangeable past. You're just keeping the demon of that pain alive simply for itself. And in the worst case, you identify as that grief. You are no longer individually owned and operated who has been hurt. You are the hurt. And teasing that out, it's going to take some work. Remember who you are before the hurt and then feed that to grow bigger and stronger than the hurt by being thankful for that hurt that came to give you gifts and now that you can grab and put on a shelf somewhere. Break glass in case needed, or if the glass breaks, what is it telling you in that environment? Because it might be very helpful for somebody to hear your story of it, and they're bringing it up unintentionally, which makes you not like them in the beginning. But now that you're emotionally mature, these 11 symptoms of grief are like tools in a toolbox for the practitioner of one who wants to be healthy and well and live a full life dealing with triage and doing it well. In the backwaters of the mind swim the mystic and the madman alike. The only difference is one is swimming, the other one is drowning. We are both the mystic and the madman. We choose whether we are swimming or we're drowning. And if we're drowning, then we need these tools to create our life raft and then eventually our catamaran. Here we go. Number 2. Your eyes are clogged with the dust of death. I cannot see the beauty of this world anymore. Instead, I focus on the dis-ease. When I see the homeless huddled over by the people, the monument, I suddenly feel fear and concern and worry. But if I could jujitsu it, I'll see community. I'll see people bonding in the out of doors against the machine, who are living and doing well, and who have problems like we all do, but who have chosen a path that doesn't confine them to an expectation. It doesn't herd them into imaginary time blocks. And they have something that many people work to have for 1 week out of the year. They have a day they can control themselves. And maybe if I'm called, because I see human beings who live outdoors, not homeless, if I am called to converse with these folks who are making their way in their own way, on their own terms, I may have some place in my heart where I could truly listen to their needs and play it against what I have to offer the world in a manner that doesn't suck me dry or endanger my family. And that's out there because of that approach. Right? So my eyes can be clogged with the dust of death for only so long that I recognize it in myself as the unkind thought towards people who threaten me with a different way in my reptilian or mammalian brain. They're not part of my tribe. Good, that means they have a different perspective entirely. I wonder what they see. I wonder what their world important things are. I could learn a lot about urban survival. Am I going out of my way to talk? No, that was a conversation in my head around the Rotary in the middle of Augusta that lasted about 12 seconds. And it was a meaningful dialogue that kept me connected to humanity. See how it works? So that came up. Now the next one. My throat is clogged with the dust of death. Somebody's riding a bike, it's 20 degrees out, and the first thing I could say is, you need another 20 miles in 20 years, buddy. Well, that's because that was me. That was the 265-pound Mike, bitter at the world for being out of shape and resenting people who had enough self-discipline to get out there and do something about it. That pattern is in there. So how do I turn it around? I'm going to slow down and put on my hazards while I go over this hill so that nobody tries to pass me. I don't want them to get hit. I'm going to wave a friendly wave to them and a thumbs up because I admire their tenacity. They need some encouragement sometimes, and I know it lifts my heart when people do that for me. So, suddenly, I'm cheering somebody on instead of feeding that bitter monster. Right? So my eyes are clogged with the dust of death is I don't see anything but misery. That's almost encouraged. Don't turn on a news cycle. Because that's what you'll see. But you don't have to remain ignorant. Just, the news cycle sells misery. Look for the information that can be turned into bounty, into flow, into balance that comes across. It's in there in spite of the packaging. Ears are clogged with the dust of death. Listen for the beauty of the bird song. Turn on the music that celebrates life and living, or romance, or the explosive growth of wanting to learn and become your own person, being. There's plenty out there. Inspired songs of love triumphing over all manner of obstacles. Songs that celebrate the life of somebody who was close to you. The blues is what happens when bad things happen to good people. It's expressive and healing. Songs of life instead of criticisms, insults, and rage. Sarcasm dressed in humor. Next. So we have our eyes are clogged with the dust of death. And we turn that into seeing the beauty in life. Our voice, we flush out that dust with songs and praise of life, of saying out loud what we are thankful for with meaning in our heart so that it overscripts it each and every time. Same thing with ears. If you hear nothing but insults and innuendo, change the frequency. Struggle to hear the connective tissue. If somebody's lashing out at you, what is the feeling behind it? Are they afraid? Do they feel threatened? Do they feel unvalued? Listen for the tender human crying out, not the insult being cast in your direction. The next one, yellow pit of stomach, dots in the stomach, dis-ease, tension, and ulcers, whatever the bacteria that causes ulcers, however you want to explain it. When we are stressed, digestive issues are one of the first things that manifest because it creates an imbalance. Too much stomach acid to digest what we're trying to swallow that we don't want to. I have to work another 40-hour. I'm going to miss my child's game. I can't make the bills on time. I'll never be good enough. I never got to say goodbye before they died. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. If grasshoppers had machine guns, birds wouldn't go messing with them. If. If is the biggest word in the English language, and it's only 2 letters long. How about this for an if to try on for size? Yellow spots in the pit of your stomach. That is a message that you're holding on to things too tightly. And maybe you're swimming in pools you can't create change in, and the frustration or the sense of futility is becoming more of an issue than the failed mission. If you can't win the game, change the rules. Victory is now ease. That is the prize of the day. It's no longer trying to get that contract. It's finding ease. Reclaim wellness is now the prize. It's not the bonus, because the bonus isn't as important as wellness. Yellow pits, yellow spots in the pit of your stomach, that tightness. In the lineage that I am primarily influenced by, the Northern Lipan Apache lineage of Stalking Wolf and Coyote Thunder and Tom Brown Jr., and how it was parsed out to find the common threads of humanity and pass those along. Dis-ease is your inner vision voice telling you no or unsafe or don't. It's that tightness of your gut feeling telling you not to, the negative. The release is the yes, right? So you can ask your gut feeling simple yes or no questions and pay attention to that tightening but releasing and see how accurate it is. And if it's not accurate, you have to amp your physical awareness suite so that you get more reliable information coming in faster than thought. It might mean stilling the thoughty part of your brain. No words, present breathing, and then ask the question as an emotive radiance being cast out in all directions, and listen for those things faster than thought to come in. That's how we hone our intuition. Play it against the facts of the landscape. Was it a brain fart, or did you really get a good, what we call hit on your intuition, an accurate assessment faster than thought, and an image, a feeling, an emotion? Keep working it that way, and you get better at it over time. At least you'll learn what is the fuzz of the logical mind versus the intuitive mammalian brain giving you information and emotions and feelings. Remember, because it's been atrophied, it's going to take a long time to become reliable. And the way we make it reliable is to parse out the inaccurate emotional feedback from the accurate and to discern the difference. Only experience can do that. So yeah, embrace getting it wrong. The more you get it wrong, the more you learn. Beyond that symptom, so we have what? We have our mind was at the burial mound. We have the dust of death clogging our eyes, that's 2. Our throat, that's 3. Our ears, that's 4. And we peel it away with appreciation and finding the beauty, both auditorily and visually, but also what comes out of our throats in words is constructive and healing and designed to build productive relationships and ideas and inspire. Right? And then the pit in our stomach is that stress that is carried by the feeling that we're not doing it right, or that we're not enough, or the wrong tool for the wrong job, or this isn't a healthy environment. And so what is it telling you so that you can do the opposite of that? Or maybe just if you can't do that, if you don't have the information to really discern why you're carrying that dis-ease, make it a point to meditate, to do yoga, to have enough coffee sips in the morning for a 45-minute thoughtless stare into the appreciation of your life. And everyone else will see no difference in you except that you have a smile on your face and you start to act as if you have peace in your heart. So those are our first 4 of these 11. And again, we're coming to a place at the podcast where I'm going to wrap it up and invite you to continue with exploring how we can use these symptoms of grief as catalysts for growth into wellness. It looks like we're going to have at least 1, if not 2 more podcast episodes to treat this bundle with the respect it deserves. Until then, I'll see you on the trail. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Dear Grandchildren, A Tracker's Tale. If today's journey resonates with you, I invite you to share it with others who long for a deeper connection to nature and themselves. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts for bonus episodes, exclusive question and answer sessions, and more tales from the wild. Your support through subscriptions, feedback, or simply spreading word keeps this flame of ancestral wisdom alive. And if you're ready to take the next step, contact the Central School at primitiveskills.com or email staff@primitiveskills.com to learn all about our workshops, experiences, lectures, expeditions, and how we can bring these teachings directly to you. Until next time, may your trails be clear and your heart full. Keep exploring and keep the fire burning.